Hiya, how are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Do you want to give a brief sort of background to yourself and maybe when and why you started photography?
Yeah, so I've always kind of done photography since I was like a kid. My grandpa was kind of into photography, and like sometimes he would just give me a wee shot of his camera. And yeah, I think probably the kind of first time I thought, oh, actually, this is great. I'd probably be 8 or something like that. And I took a portrait of him, and I remember just being really, really pleased with it. Um, and then yeah, it just kind of went from there. Like through school, I always did like art, and I kind of wanted to do art, study art at uni. But then I kind of so I'd like go and take photographs of landscape as reference to paint for,
Okay.
to paint from. But I kind of came to the stage where I was enjoying taking the photographs more than I was enjoying painting. So I kind of did that and just kind of I just did a stupid wee camera back then. Like most of the time, it was just wee disposable cameras,
Yeah.
like a wee digital one. And then I went to uni to study photography. It lasted 3 months because I hated everything. I went in September and then I came home for Christmas holidays and never went back again. I just, yeah, didn't enjoy it. And then after that, I just kind of, when I came home, I wasn't quite sure what I was doing in my life. I kind of started Instagram at that point, and then just over the years, it's kind of built up. That was when was that? It was 2013. So God,
Jeez.
it's nearly 10 years ago now. But yeah, just kind of building up from there and just practicing and experimenting different things. Like looking back at the photos I took then, I was like, geez, oh. But just just kind of just doing it all the time. Like growing up and kind of like it's pretty remote where I live, so you've got all the like the scenery around you, so it's like the perfect place to kind of just learn how to take photographs. So yeah, that's kind of my story.
Yeah. No, it is amazing how, like, that's one thing that I've always maybe thought about was if I'd went to uni would be better than what I am and would have pick up it a lot quicker kind of thing. But it goes to show that it doesn't really matter, does it? If you go to university or college, or I'm sure it has its benefits, but I think you can just learn on the job type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite like a strong believer that the best way to become a good photographer is just take photographs. Like you can study the books or you can look at this, you click that, but as soon as you like, long as you learn how to do the manual settings, and then you're kind of if you've got a good kind of eye to your rule of thirds, leading lines, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Um, I think like I do occasionally do workshops and have people come in and go, I've read this book and I've read that book and I've read that book. I was like, you read all these books, but if you actually what you spend more time doing, reading the books or like going out and taking photographs. And they're like, oh, I'm like, just put the books down and go and take photographs. And just practice and practice, and it'll come to you. Um, so yeah. I mean, I suppose it probably does. University does have its benefits, but yeah, it didn't.
I know.
It wasn't for me.
No, it's not for everyone, and I suppose, like you say, when you've had maybe so many years of doing it, it's kind of now you're at that point that you've obviously learned a lot in just going out and taking photos. So yeah, it makes your decision of leaving seem like a good one, anyways.
Yeah, at the time it was like, oh, what have I done? Is this a good idea? Well, I think it's turned out okay.
Yeah. So you mentioned your workshops there. Is that a new thing that you've started?
Yeah, so I've always kind of done like me one-on-one workshops over the last couple of years. But what I'm hoping to do, well, I probably won't be till next year now, is do like
Yeah.
kind of like retreat kind of things. So like
Okay.
3 or 4 days, just in different parts of Scotland, and just do it with kind of small amount of people, maybe 4 or 5 maximum, and just kind of have it as like a kind of obviously learn photography, but just also like a well-being thing, like being in the outdoors, getting outside, and kind of reaping all the benefits of that. Keeping it like quite relaxed and just
Yeah.
nothing, just kind of like a retreat kind of idea. So that's what's kind of trying to plan that kind of thing at the moment. But with the whole COVID thing and then
I
just
know.
logistically planning it all, it's taking a bit of time. But that's the kind of plan for probably into like next spring. 'Cause I don't know. I mean, it might be nice to do it kind of autumn time, but realistically, I don't know if that'll be possible or not.
I
If I'll be
know.
able to see people or do stuff by then.
Yeah, I know. It's just the time that we're in just now. Nothing's really a certainty. So fingers crossed you can do it this year. But if not, I'm sure either way it'll be a success. When you do your one-on-ones, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours, or is it like a short session? Or
Yeah, it kind of depends. And so I can either do kind of half day ones or full day ones, and most of the time people just go to kind of go for the full day ones. So I'll kind of start off and we'll just kind of sit down somewhere and just get them to like understand their camera, understand in manual settings how they use it, and get them, even if it takes a couple of hours just to get them to understand it. And
Yeah.
then we just go out and shoot. We just go out to different places and just experiment with different things and just have a walk around in the chat and just keep it really, really relaxed. So there's no pressure then. There's no reason for them to get stressed or think, oh, I need to do that or I need to do that, or, just keeping it nice and relaxed and just being in nature as well, because like once you're like in nature, you're immersed in that, it kind of makes it easier. And then I'll just kind of like, let them kind of go and do a couple of things and see what they come back with, and then maybe come with suggestions. So maybe you could try that, and just that kind of thing, just keeping it nice and like just relax and making it enjoyable for people, because if people are not enjoying it or they're bored or they're stressed, they're not going to learn anything. So yeah, that's the kind of, that's what I try to do anyway. Whether it works or not, I don't know, but that's what I try to do.
Yeah. I'm sure you would get a negative review if,
Yeah.
if that was the case. But so is that up north?
Yeah, I've just been doing them kind of round Argyll. I've not done that many, but recently it's just kind of been kind of mainly kind of local people or people who are coming on holiday kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to do one and have a location in Skye to do ones, and then over in Mull as well. And then I'm just kind of testing the water with accommodation providers at the moment to see who would be interested in doing it and what kind of people would be interested in different locations, just to a few to test the water, start off with, and maybe do a few taster ones before I kind of launch it properly. But a lot of it, I think, with everything else, will just be trial and error and see what works, see what doesn't work. And the day ones, they're pretty simple, but when you've got people coming for 4 days and you have to look after them for 4 days and teach them stuff, it takes a lot more effort, a lot more planning. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, that sounds it sounds good. So, like I say, I'm sure it'll be a success, and fingers crossed it'll be this year. But we'll wait and see. And you never know, I might tag along. I'll pay, obviously.
No, I'm just going to turn up for the weekend.
Moving on from workshops and things, obviously your own photography, you've worked with a lot of brands and things I've seen from your website when I was doing my stalking and research and stuff. Is that like a more recent thing that's happened, or how did that kind of start? Did you contact so many sort of brands, or did they contact you?
They kind of came to me, so that kind of started maybe about 2 years ago. Yeah, probably about 2 years ago. Last 2 years that's kind of started, and they would just kind of contact me through Instagram. And yeah, no, it just kind of took off. I started off, I can't remember who the first one was. I think I did a wee bit with Visit Scotland, and then there was just other brands kind of came up and started coming up, and yeah, it's really good. Just did some work with Aberlour there, and
yeah,
I kind of got to the stage now that because I've done that, I've started kind of reaching out to folk and being like, do you want to have a wee look at my work and stuff like that? But I find that quite stressful. I hate doing it, but it's one of these things, like the more you do it, the more comfortable you come with it. But I think that's the kind of way, if you really want to make it as a photographer, you do actually have to reach out and be a bit cheeky sometimes. But yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do. But yeah, no, just kind of, I think Instagram has been, if it wasn't for Instagram, I don't think I'd be doing the stuff that I'm doing today, and I don't think I would have had all the work that I've had. I think it's largely just down to Instagram, which is great, because it's it's free.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you're getting all that work from and not having to put any money out for it. So yeah.
No, that is amazing how people do so well through Instagram with it being free. Like you say, it's just an amazing place to showcase your portfolio, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's obviously daily as well. Like no one's really having to type your web address into Google. Like everyone's on social media, so it's I can see why people have contacted you with obviously your work that you're putting up. So do you put up stuff daily, would you say, or?
No, I mean, Probably most of the time it's like once a week. Occasionally it might be twice a
Okay.
week. Usually it's not that much more than that.
Yeah.
When I started out, I was like doing it daily.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of, yeah, it's probably once or twice a week. I kind of put stuff up. Because I think what I like, the stuff I want to put up is stuff that, you know, it's kind of like my best work. I don't want
Yeah.
to be just turning out like all the kind of mediocre images. So yeah, I've always tried to put like the best stuff up. So I put it up once a week purely so that I don't run out of stuff.
Yeah.
Because you know, sometimes you get like, you know, you can have a couple of days in a week where there's like multiple, like the weather's amazing, there's sunsets, there's great, you know, great photographic weather, and then you'll have this period where there's just nothing. So,
Mhm.
you know, it's trying to just keep that balance and try not like occasionally I'll post things that I've posted in the past, but I try and keep it fairly fresh. But that's not always possible, especially at the moment when you're not. I mean, I'm pretty lucky. I live in a kind of rural area anyway, but you know, when you
Yeah.
can't like travel and do stuff. So yeah, usually once a week. Once a
Yeah.
week.
That's quite interesting because I've always thought that if you post daily, which I know you probably did in the beginning, like you said, and then now you've built that following, you've kind of maybe taken a bit of a back sort of seat and just posted your best work, which is obviously, I would say, the best way, because you don't really want to be putting something up that you're not entirely happy with. Because one thing with like my page, when I put things up, I've said it before in like previous conversations with people, and I kind of like to, even if I'm not 100% happy with it, I still like to put it up because somebody out there like will like it in a way. Like people see things totally differently. So that's kind of where I don't post daily. I don't want to put that pressure on myself, and it's kind of, I like to put up, yeah, I still want to put up good stuff, but
Yeah.
even if it's not amazing,
Mhm.
I still kind of like to see what people think and see
Yeah.
if different people will comment or different people will like it or what have you. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Obviously, I'm not as lucky and I don't have as much of a following as you, but I would say if there is someone starting out, like if you've got all the spare time in the world, great. Feel free, post daily, but I just think there's no point in putting that pressure on yourself.
No, no, because then it kind of just takes over, kind of thing. And I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know whether it makes a huge difference anyway. Like I don't understand the whole algorithm and the whole whatever you want to call it, Instagram.
yeah,
Um, but I don't know if even like posting every day would necessarily work, because I don't know whether things would get hidden or people would
yeah,
just get fed up as they like I don't know, because it's like Instagram's completely different to what it was when I was kind of starting out. So things that worked then might not work
aye,
now. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend anyone posting every day. I suppose like if you're just starting out and you want to like kind of make an impact, maybe 3 times a week or something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't go for every day. That's just too much effort.
yeah. Nah, you're right. It would get on top of you. It just would, and it did take its toll on me in a way because, like I say, when I first started, I was doing it daily, and I kind of became a bit sick of it, and I just wasn't enjoying going out and taking photos, so I just completely stopped, and it was yeah, I enjoy it much better. I go out maybe once a week and just see what I get and
Yeah,
post something from that day pretty much.
no,
And
that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, obviously your pages, you've got wildlife, you've got landscape, you've got astro, you've got a bit of everything. Is there something that you prefer taking, or do you just love all aspects of photography?
I probably the landscapes is probably my favourite, but I do love wildlife photography. It's definitely the most difficult, and I don't actually have the lenses
Right.
that you need. Like I've only got 100 millimeter lens, so I'm currently like trying to save up for a proper telephoto lens. But there is something about wildlife photography because it is so challenging, and a lot of it's down to luck. There's something like
Yep.
exciting about it, and like if you get that shot, it's like an extra buzz. Yeah, but probably like overall landscapes is probably my favourite. Like kind of like coastal
Yeah.
scenery is my favourite. You're pretty lucky here, and like with the islands and stuff nearby. So yeah, probably coastal scenery is my favourite. Yeah, people are nodding amongst that. It's great.
Yeah. Like throughout your page, there's so many. I don't know. It's probably like you say. It's because you maybe only post once a week that every sort of image there's like a sunrise or a sunset, and it does just work. Like your feed, that it's kind of, I don't know if it's like the colours, that it just draws your eye into it, and it is your work spot on. I don't want to blow smoke up your arse too far. Don't want to be a bit much here, but aye, that's my opinion. So, anyways, honestly, that's landscape is probably my favourite as well. Just I'm a bit like yourself. I don't have the luxury of a telephoto lens, so I can't say wildlife yet. Even though there's been times that I've been out and it's just I've seen a deer or a squirrel or just something, and I'm just itching to like capture it, but you just have to watch it. It's a bit demoralising, but one day.
One day. But even like watching wildlife, there's some really exciting of just getting like, something. But yeah, no, one day there'll be a telephoto lens and probably not see any wildlife after that.
That'll be your luck. Also, you do wedding photography, which I've seen you've got a link to that on your Instagram.
Yeah.
That's something that I've always, I wouldn't say I've been interested in it, it's just I've always been asked since I started, like friends and whatever, can you do our wedding? And I'm just like, no, I'm not doing it. Personally, I would feel too much pressure to kind of get that moment or the shot that they're wanting. Do you, obviously you've done it for a while now, but when you first started, did you find that? Did you think there would be too much sort of pressure on you?
Yeah, no, I mean it is. I still get really stressed before a wedding. It's just, yeah, because if you screw up, then there's
That's it.
that's it. There are no photos from the wedding day. So yeah, no. Before I do a wedding, like I never sleep the night before. I always have dreams like my camera breaks or like just something happens. But yeah, I kind of try not to do just so many kind of big weddings now. I kind of want to go to more towards the elopements.
Okay.
And weddings that like take place outside and stuff like that, because they're just, I think I can probably, there's photographers out there who will do a big wedding a lot better than I will.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the one that's involved in the landscape kind of, so I kind of mainly concentrate on kind of elopements and ones outdoor weddings and stuff like that, because yeah, no, there's people out there that'll do a lot better job than me. So if I kind of tailor things towards that kind of side of it, I think it's beneficial for everybody. Because I don't know how you get so many wedding photographers and all the group shots and stuff like that, and I just don't have the patience for it, because there's always like, somebody or somebody like some aunt's not looking, or it's just it's I don't mind it. Like I do enjoy photographing a wedding, but it's more the kind of the shots of the couple or these like nice natural moments that happen rather than the posed kind of generic kind of wedding photography. Is just it's not the most exciting to photograph.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. It's kind of like I've always said, like especially with wedding photography, whenever like everyone gets, I don't know, 100 photos, probably there'll be 1,000 obviously, but like maybe 100 like finished photos in like an album or whatever. No one looks at it. Like no one really like, I don't know, once every year they might look at it, and it's kind of the way that I see it is the kind of photo that you're talking about of the couple, maybe outside, or even if it is at the venue or something, that is probably the one that they're going to have on their wall. To me, that's the one that's the most important. And
Yeah.
I just think, I don't know, obviously I've never done them for the reason that I don't think I could. I feel maybe brides obviously have this expectation that they want every moment captured, that really it doesn't really matter. It's only maybe the odd 2 or 3 that matter. But yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, you get some weddings that are fantastic. Like I do really actually enjoy doing the little moments and small weddings, but for big weddings, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Have you had any sort of bridezillas or any moments that you've kind of thought, I wish I wasn't doing this?
It's usually the mother of the bride. Like
Oh, is it?
all the brides have actually, I've been really lucky, to be fair. Like everyone's been wonderful. I've met some really lovely people, really lovely couples. There was one mother of the bride who yeah, it was hard work, shall we say.
Yeah. You don't want to damage your reputation. Nah, I can imagine. I just wouldn't, because even just being at a wedding, I just know how stressful people get and how stressed people get, sorry, and I would hate to be that person that has all of the responsibility, like your memory card, your battery, the right lenses, just capturing the moment. And I always think a lot of people think that when you put the price of maybe £1,000, £2,000 for a wedding photographer, it's kind of people are a bit like, what, just to take photos? Aye, but you don't understand what's all going into it.
I understand the emotional turmoil that's
Exactly.
but no, it's hard work. It is, it's a full, especially if it's like a 12-hour day, you're like on the go for 12 hours. Like you can't really take a break, because like if you take a break for something, you could miss that moment, kind of thing. But it's hard work. I mean, it can be really enjoyable, but it's hard work.
Yeah. So do you have any advice for anyone, even like myself, that might want to just go and do that first wedding?
I would say like start off small, like don't start off with like a big wedding. If you can, like even start off with like like an elopement or something like that, because then you've got the nice part of it. You've got like getting to know the couple, and you kind of that more kind of intimate setting, and you don't have the same kind of stress. Usually smaller weddings are a lot more relaxed, kind of thing, and then you can just you've got the chance to be a bit more creative and experiment with it. So I would definitely recommend, if you want to try test the waters, like even in the next, like I suppose 6 months, when weddings are going to be a lot smaller anyways, like kind of try it out, see what happens. I probably wouldn't even, like, I suppose just I started off being like the second photographer.
Okay.
That's how I started off doing weddings, and again you get the practice, but it's not as stressful because it's not, if it goes wrong, it's not your fault. It's the main photographer's fault. So yeah, try that. And I don't know, I've never done a friend's wedding or any. I did one wedding that I knew the couple, and I found it quite difficult, because just trying to concentrate on doing it when everybody else is having fun and everybody and like it's a lot more difficult. You got people come up, well, take my photo, depends on you, kind of thing. So I mean, yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend doing somebody because I think that would just be more happy. Like, it seems easier, but when you're actually doing it, it's probably not as easy as you think.
Yeah. No, that's quite good advice. So a small wedding and nobody,
Yeah, pretty much.
No, it's good advice. So going away from weddings and kind of maybe future locations that you maybe want to visit when obviously we can, is there anywhere that you've got in mind?
I suppose I love like the Hebrides. I'd kind of like to explore more of the Hebrides. I've never been to like kind of Rum, Muck and Egg, so I'd love to go there. And just kind of like the North Coast 500. I know it's really popular, but I've never really been to Torridon area, very briefly, but I'd love to spend a bit more time in that kind of area. And yeah, no, I love the islands. I love exploring the islands. So yeah, that's probably my one go-to places. Once everything's allowed to, yeah.
Your kind of photography is a lot of Scotland. So what about staying abroad? Is there anywhere abroad, or are you just sort of more Scottish sort of landscapes?
No, I would love to go. I've never actually been abroad, which is,
All right.
yeah, I've never.
Whatever.
Supposed to never been abroad. No, never actually. I don't know. Just maybe just between one thing and another. I've just
Right.
never been abroad, kind of thing. We're supposed to go to France. Me and my boyfriend were supposed to go to France in May, but that's not going to
Nice.
happen. So, but no, there's lots of places I'd love to explore. I'd love to kind of go Scandinavia kind of area.
Nice.
Um, and where else? Hawaii. Hawaii's like the top location because everything's got like beaches, volcanoes, rainforests, mountains. It's got everything. So
Yeah.
Hawaii's like the top of the list. But yeah, no, I'd love to I would love to go out and explore. But yeah, it's just I don't know, it's never something that's never happened. But it was
Yeah.
supposed, as I say, it was supposed to this year, but COVID got in the
I
way.
know. Yeah. No, I think whenever I ask everyone that question, I'm always like, yeah, I want to go there as well. And it's like, but it's true. It's just whenever someone says somewhere, I'm like, oh, it is amazing, especially Hawaii. It's not even for photography, just to kind of go
Yeah.
and see it would just be amazing. So yeah, I'll put that on my list as well. I'll just go to follow everyone. But no, they're good choices, and even Scotland, like a lot of people kind of forget, and I kind of took it for granted as well. Before I even started photography, I hadn't even been to Glencoe, Skye, anywhere. Obviously, being from the borders, it's kind of I've just been stuck to Edinburgh, and that's probably been about it. So it's it has definitely opened my travels up in terms of
Yeah.
Scotland, and it's I think the first thing that I kind of noticed, especially on Instagram, was when all the English like photographers that I follow, people are asking them on their story, where would you want to go when the lockdown's finished, and like anywhere in the world, and the majority of them were saying Scotland, and it's kind of it just goes to show how special Scotland is and what we kind of have here, and we are just so lucky.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's got a bit of everything. I think because it's such a relatively small country as
Mhm.
well. You've got everything. You've got the mountains. You've got the white sandy beaches. You've got islands. You've got forests. You've got like the cities are beautiful, and then there's so much history, and culture as well. So, yeah, I think that's what makes it. So I used to think like why was Scotland so special, or why was it always top of the list of the most beautiful countries in the world?
Yeah,
Um, it's not as dramatic as somewhere like Norway or Canada or
yeah,
places like that. I think it's because it's got like everything in such a small area. It's my theory on why it's
yeah.
why it's so special kind of thing.
No, it's quite a good theory because, to be honest, if say someone came to Edinburgh, for instance, like it's yeah, Glencoe's maybe what a couple hours or something. Like it's not
Mm.
horrific to kind of travel like that far. So you kind of could cram in maybe I don't know if you came for a week or 2 weeks, like so much and just see so much.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, probably the most difficult, well, yeah, the most difficult places would be like the Outer Hebrides. But even
Yeah,
then, if you were traveling from Edinburgh, you could probably, I don't know, you could do it. If you left really, I suppose in the summer, if you left like Edinburgh really early in the morning, you could still get a ferry over to the Outer
yeah.
Hebrides, but like, later on in the evening, so it is, it's really quite accessible. It's just if the weather was, slightly warmer, maybe.
uh, that's always the stumbling block, isn't it? It's just it. It's amazing though because it does make photographs as well. Like you get a lot of moody shots that just look amazing, and although you do moan about the weather, it does kind of add a lot to photographs.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and it's just always changing, and there's that
Yeah.
there's that kind of extra. I suppose there's that extra challenge in it as well, which is always quite interesting. But do you get midges down in the borders, or do you escape them?
Not as much, but they are like my worst nightmare. Like I know a lot of people in Scotland. Like I don't think anyone's used to them. Let's be honest, they're a pain in the arse. But it's kind of I come out in like red sort of blotches. Whenever well, the first time I came up north, I had like a snood, a hat, and I was literally just like my wee eyes. It's we don't get many down here, but when we do, I'm usually inside.
Yeah, no, they're brutal. They're pretty, yeah. Here they're horrific here in the summertime. It's just it does kind of spoil it. It does spoil it to a certain extent because it's not pleasant.
Nah, you're right. They're probably the one downfall of Scotland, right enough, but
Yeah, absolutely.
it's fine. We'll take it.
We'll deal with that.
Yeah. So, final question is, if you could take one last photograph ever, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. Probably, I don't know. That's a good question. I love otters, and I've always wanted like the classic otter shot. So probably a photograph of an otter with like a stunning like kind of landscape in the background. That would probably be like, dramatic light, mountains,
Yeah,
sea,
everything.
everything. That would be the dream shot. But yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, probably something like that would be like. Yeah, if I got that, I would probably be quite happy. I mean, I probably wouldn't, but I'd try and tell myself I was quite happy.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer, and an even better reason for you to get that telephoto lens. So
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, one day.
Thanks very much for coming on and having a chat. And I take it everyone can obviously find you on Instagram, website. Is it just Eilidh Cameron Photography?
Yeah, just dailycamphotography.com. You can find me there. Well, thank you very much. It was good to have a chat.
That's all right. I appreciate it.